All right, looks like we have quite a bit of people coming on, and we're going to be covering today photo booth use for Touchpix. I think this is kind of a class that is has been long overdue. So we're going to show some tips and tricks on what we recommend on how to set up a proper photo booth event. I'd like to welcome everybody on the class. I'm still logging some people in, so just give me another minute or so. We're about to get started. And if you have questions, we'll save those questions towards the very end. Depending on how quick we go through a complete photo booth setup, I'm going to do a live demo. If we have some time, then I would definitely like to include how to print at the end, because I think printing is important if you're doing photo booth events. It commands the option to charge a little bit more for your events. Obviously, it's summertime right around the corner, so there's a lot of events that people not only like to use the photo booth for digital prints, which are quick and easy for drop-off units, but there's events that people actually like to receive a tangible item, which includes a print, whether it be a 4x6 style print or a 2x4. I'm going to go ahead and open up the Touchpix website so we can get started as people are joining. We can do that, and I'll share my screen in a bit here. Let's see if I can share it now. There we go. I'm hoping you guys are able to see my screen. I'd like to see the participant panel. So again, my name is DJ. I part of the Touchpix support. We also have Julian, who's on the call, who is my partner in crime with the Touchpix support team. I'll let him introduce himself, and we'll get started in a minute or so. Julian, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you, DJ. Hi, everybody. This is Julian. I'm part of the Touchpix support team. Most of the time I'm on the shop with you. And also I keep posting some replies on the Facebook group. So also this is a reminder, if you are not in the Facebook group, just remember to join. We can post the link over here, okay? I've been with Touchpix for more than a year. So anytime you have any question, please, feel free to contact us, okay?
Great, thank you for that, Julian. Yeah, so our support has switched over. For people that don't know, our support has switched over to kind of a chat model currently. And the chat model support is you jump on our website, you have a question, and we'll be able to answer it as quickly as possible. We have agents throughout the weekend, because we understand that the weekend is it's a high-level user for users around the world. And we have it in English, we have it in Spanish, we have it in Portuguese. So there's a lot of Touchpix users out there. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Are you guys able to see my screen? Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And I know there's going to be questions regarding setting up the photo booth, and I'm going to try to explain it as clear as possible, because setting up a photo booth in Touchpix does require some information that is not typical with everybody. So for people that are interested in using photo booth, we're going to start, I'm assuming you're going to start with an iPad booth of some sort. But as you all know, there is several different model iPads out there, several different sizes. So I'm going to teach you how to work it with your specific size. That way you can follow along if you need to, and then you can ask questions a little later. The chat is open. I'll see if either myself or Julian can answer some of the chat questions. We do have these recordings on my YouTube page. Some of them are on Touchpix. If you go to YouTube and you type in Touchpix, you can see the official page. I tend, because I tend to do a lot of both English and Spanish webinars with Julian, we kind of keep them in a separate page. Just, it's easier to navigate, because not everybody needs to see the same content on the Touchpix official page on YouTube. People can see it under DJ Juan Duke. I'll put a link in the chat of where you can review some of these old recordings. I try to keep everything up to date because I do know, like everything else, the app is constantly updating. One of the big things that I want to go over today would be the designer. A lot of people were used to using the old designer and it's no longer there, the legacy designer. We want everybody to start using the new designer, and we're going to go through the process. Thanks, Julian. He put the link up on the chat for those that don't have it. So we're going to be going through the new designer. We're going to show you how to exactly set up a photo booth event for your specific photo booth needs. So that being said, there's a lot of iPads out there, and you may be wondering which is the best iPad, right? So this is where a little bit of research comes in handy. You don't always want to get the least expensive iPad. You want an iPad that has a good front camera. If you're just going to use an iPad to capture pictures, you're going to want to use a good front camera, and you can research the models. You're looking for something around 12 megapixels or above. That's what you're looking for. I know some of the iPad minis have them, some of the iPad Pros have them. So any of the newer iPads is what I would recommend. If you have an older iPad, it'll work, but there's going to be some differences with quality and images. So you do want an iPad that has a better front camera resolution, right? If you're using it. I know somebody on the chat indicated they have a 12.9. Well, the 12.9s tend to be iPad Pros. If you have anything above a second generation 12.9, then yes, that'll work fine. That'll be perfect, right? Second generation, third generation iPad, fourth generation 12.9 will work fine. I think the very first generation 12.9 has a lower grade camera, and that was released over 5 years back. So you definitely don't want that. So the reason why I bring up iPads is because we're going to show you how to customize your business logo onto the iPads, right? And because the iPads have different screen sizes, there's no one size fits all type of resolution. So people often ask, well, what's the resolution of the screen? How should I design my image or my start screen, right? So that is really going to depend on what you have. So the easiest way for me to explain it is take a screenshot of your iPad, even if it's the home page. What you can do now is once you take a screenshot, typically for the screenshot, it's the power button and the volume up button. That'll take a screenshot. If your iPad has a button, it's typically the home button and the volume up button. That'll take a screenshot. So what you do with this screenshot is you're going to use it as a template, right? So I'm going to show you a quick example from my iPhone, just because it's easier for me to show it that way. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Give me 1 second here. And I'll show you how I take the screenshot and kind of maneuver on how to start the process of designing my specific logo. So let me go over, and I think I have, okay, let me see here. I see there's a couple of iPhones, and I just want to make sure I'm making the correct iPhone a co-host. So this will tell me if I am or if I'm not. Give me 1 second here. And I'll show you via screenshot if I'm able to share. Oh, I made the wrong iPhone a co-host. Okay, so now I'm going to remove co-host. Okay, let me see here. Oops. There's an iPhone that I accidentally made a host. Can you let me reclaim host. Got it. Okay, here we go. I should have named my iPhone. That way I know what I'm switching it to. I'm going to try to screen share this. Here we go. So I'm pretending with this illustration that this is my iPad. I'm using an iPhone for those of you that don't know, but I'm pretending that this is my iPad, and I want to get the resolution of this screen here, right? Whether you're using an iPad 10.2, iPad 11, iPad mini, or a 12.9, they're all going to have different screen resolutions. So what you're going to need to do is, like I said, with the power button and the volume up, I believe, you're going to take a screenshot, which I just did. That specific screenshot, I'm going to go ahead and email it to myself, right? I'm going to email the screenshot, and let's use my generic email address there. And that's all I want. Now I'm going to go ahead and go back to my computer, because I wanted to make sure I showed you how to take a screenshot. This applies for all the iPads. This applies for anybody who wants to use any type of device. So what I'm going to do now is go and retrieve that email. Give me one quick second here, because I need to log in and I do not want you guys to look at my credentials. Let me see here. I'm going to stop the share. I'm going to log in and I'm going to pull it up from my email. That way you guys can follow along. So I'm hoping that this is making sense to you guys here. Okay. So now I'm going to go back and share the screen. That way you guys can see what I'm looking at. Okay. So this is the email that was sent over to my email address, the screenshot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to download that image, right? I'm going to download that image and save it on my desktop. I'm going to now share the desktop that I have, and you guys can see my desktop, correct? So now that it's saved onto my desktop, what I'm looking for is that screenshot. So if I right click on that screenshot and go to properties on my computer, it's going to tell me, if I go over to details, it's going to tell me the dimensions of that screen size. So this is going to tell you how to design a proper looking template or a start screen for that device that you have. If you, like I said, there's so many devices out there. I'm trying to show you what will work for your specific device. It's going to start with the screenshot and do this. So what I would suggest you do at this point is, if you guys use Canva, or if you guys use Photopea, which is free, I'll show you what that looks like right now. I'm going to go into Photopea, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. And I'm going to go to this free website. It's called Photopea.com. It's similar to Photoshop. And what it's going to allow me to do is import that specific artwork. So I'm going to go ahead and hit open from a computer. I know that that file is located on my desktop, and it's a screenshot of my phone. There it is here. And it's loading, and here it is. This is how you're going to start your design for your template. In my case, for those of you that don't know how to use this, you might just want to start with the clean canvas. And again, once you import it, you already know the size. It's going to be image size is going to be 828 by 1792. This is an iPhone. Your iPad might have a different resolution. But for those of you that are able to import this image, you're going to use the square tool here to just highlight everything, right? And once everything is highlighted, what you can do is just hit the delete button, and it'll erase your iPad screenshot, and say you want to now start importing files to decorate your screenshot, right? So now I can actually go into my files folder, and whether I want to make the background blue, any color that I want, you can, for just quick examples, I'm going to just use blue. And like I said, this is kind of like a Photoshop. It's completely free. You guys can use this website, Photopea.com, and it should help you guys in figuring out how to design. So I'm going to start with let's go with the blue background of some sort, or just let's go with any random color. And I'm just going to go ahead and put the paint here. And now this can be my actual start screen. I'm not going to get into the great design, but why I'm showing you this is because this is important. where is this important? It's going to be important here in Touchpix when we're setting things up. So I'm going to go back into my Touchpix account. I'm going to go logged in. I'm going to go into create an event, and we're going to create a photo booth event. Okay. So in creating a photo booth event, I'm going to name it photo booth webinar, right? All of these settings, for those that are familiar with the 360, they're pretty similar, right? So you want to set the country of origin to USA. Your countdown, this is a photo booth, so you could actually make the countdown a little bit longer if you want. If people are, you're going to use props, you're going to need time to grab a different prop if you're taking more than one picture. So this is kind of trial and error where you feel comfortable with your workflow. So I'm going to go ahead and hit 5, countdown of 5. Actually, for this webinar, I'm going to shoot it down to 3 because I want to do a live test. And then I'm going to go ahead and enable beep sounds, right? The mirror overlay preview, I don't like to use that because it makes your overlay look like it's the mirror effect, it's backwards. I like to disable it. I'm going to be using the front camera. I'm not using the rear camera. I'm still using the camera exposure. And for printing, let's go manual printing. This is, if you go manual printing, you can actually let the user not exceed a certain amount of limit. So if you don't want users to print out, 7 copies, you can set a limit on what the maximum amount of copies are that they can print out. So let's just use 4. Let's use an even number, right? So I'm going to do manual, select the print button enabled 4. And this is where it gets pretty cool. You get to choose whatever experience you want to offer. If you want regular photos, we can definitely do regular photos. If you want the boomerang effect, this is a short video that they can send themselves digitally. You can do that. You can do an animated GIF. A GIF, basically, if you're taking 3 shots, it'll merge 3 different shots in an animated format. So that's called a GIF. So you can select that. I'm not going to use videos today, and I'm not using slow-mo. Those are options that you can also include. But for the purposes of this webinar, we're just teaching you how to use photo booth setting. So the boomerang, it tells you here. I like to use some of the default presets, but you can feel free to customize it to fit your style or your needs. So those of you that are familiar with the boomerang, it's like a looping video. How many times do you want it to repeat? It's set to 3. I like that. It gives you a numerical value down here on what are your options that you can adjust to, right? Boomerang speed also gives you the option to either make it faster or make it a little slower. I really like the default settings. I think it's perfect for what I typically use for my own events, but you can definitely adjust and see what works best for you, right, as an output. So I definitely like the default settings here. For GIF photos, I typically use templates of 3 photos. I almost never do anything over 3. I think a 3 photo strip looks nice. Either if it's a strip or landscape, I use the number 3, but you can feel free to make 4 or 5 different shots. I just like it at 3. The duration for frames before it starts animating them, it's set to ½ a second, which is fine. You can leave it at ½ a second. And it also lets you add an audio file only to the boomerang, because the boomerang is technically a short video. Or you could either use an audio file, or I don't have anything loaded here, but it'll probably use a default if I leave it at the default settings. So for people that are using iPads, the thing that will render the best output for your iPad is not only the photo booth that you have. Most photo booths on the markets are pretty similar. They have like a ring light style to them. Sometimes a ring light is not enough lighting. So I will always say that use external lighting with the iPads, and make sure that your subjects are a lot closer to the iPad camera than further back. That will render the best results with the right lighting. iPads typically don't use flash, although with Touchpix, you can connect the DSLR camera to the application. And if I have a little bit of time, I can show you how that looks and how that is connected. during this webinar. But for the purposes of this quick webinar is just to show you the settings, how to load everything correctly. And if there's time, if there's interest, I can show you the rest. So you definitely want the lighting. Typically, the ring light lighting should be strong enough to capture the faces of the people or the guests. The external lighting, in my opinion, should be powerful enough to point down and to highlight your background scene, which is typically your backdrops. That way there's no shadows, that way everything's properly lit and you'll get the highest quality pictures. So with the iPad booth, the screen flash, if you enable it, basically is just gonna be a flash simulation. The screen will just flash, simulating like a flash, but it's nothing that's really gonna enhance it drastically. If you leave it off, it's fine. If you leave it on, it's great. It's just an added feature that sometimes works best when you are in a very dark environment. That kind of enhances a simulation of a flash to capture the shot in a dark environment. So I'm going to leave it on for this purpose. Editing here, you do have options to edit your photos. I like to basically go through my guests as quickly as possible with very little delay. If you're into or you want to allow guests to edit their photos and add filters, you can leave a number here. I'll probably leave a number of 3 just so I can show you what that looks like. I don't need a thank you screen. I wanted to process the files as quickly as possible. And there's an area for props. I'll also show you what that's going to look like. I typically turn off the props because I take my own props. If you allow props, there's nothing wrong with that. Just know that every guest is going to take a little longer to go through a session, meaning that if you have a line of 10, 15 people, it can be something that you may want to pay attention to. It's a lengthy process if you allow that. So I'm going to go with 0 because I'm not interested in the props here. Although maybe I'll show you guys what that looks like. I'm just going to go with 2, or let's go 4. The sharing screen is exactly the same as the 360. You can do email, SMS, Twitter. I don't want to do any of that. It's always important to do download and AirDrop. The rest, I'm going to leave out for the purposes of this tutorial. I just want text message. I want to be able to download, AirDrop, and QR code. If you want to edit the screen again, you're able to edit and add filters for Photo Booth. I'll leave it on, that way you guys can see. Usually for 360, we tell you guys to turn this off. In-app gallery always remains on because that's what's going to tell you where your gallery is and how to share. Same exact settings, same exact plugs here for these boxes. And if you want to use some props that the app comes with different themes, whether you want to use a wedding theme, it'll load up wedding props, right? It'll load up these wedding props that your eyes, it'll detect the app will detect people's eyes, and you're able to you're able to put these on after the fact. These take a longer period of time to add. So that's why a lot of people don't use them and turn the prop off. So we're here down at the branding section. This is the important part with the photo booth setup. If you look at the app logo, right, again, the app logo will allow any type of logo that you have for branding to be uploaded onto if you're doing like a slideshow, if you're doing like a, similar to the 360, you can do a slideshow, you can use the Apple TV, it'll brand that specific app logo, right? But the most important section for the photo booth side is going to be this app background. So let's go back over to, I'm just going to do a test real quick. Let's go back over to the other website that I was in, just so we can finish that off. Give me one sec here. And I'll show you, we were in Photopea, right? You're still able to see Photopea, correct? So let's go into naming something. I'm just gonna do a quick generic Let's go edit, undo. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go into Google and I'm gonna show you a couple things. So I'm just gonna download the Touchpix logo. I don't want to download anything else off the internet, but I'm gonna download the Touchpix logo, but I'm gonna pretend like this Touchpix logo is your business logo. So let me see if this will save. JPEG. This is the one I want here. So if you want, go over to Google and type in, get any transparent file. So for you that already know, you're looking for a PNG file, right? So I'm going to save them onto my desktop. Now I'm going to go over to Photopea, which is completely free. And what I want to do now is load that. I want to make sure. So let's do a couple of things here. There it is. I'm going to go ahead and drag that Touchpix file there. I know it's a transparent file, but I'm going to pretend this is kind of my business name. And I want to decorate this as my promotional screen for my business. So whoever is using my photo booth knows it's my business. This is where you can actually get creative too. So if you're doing a wedding of maybe Kevin and Mary, you can put a picture of them here and say, welcome to Kevin's wedding. And you can customize it for your customers. So I'm just showing you a quick and dirty way of creating a quick start screen, right? So I'm going to export it as a PNG file. And that is the size of it. I'm going to go ahead and save it on my desktop. I'm going to call it app. And you can do this in Canva as well, app background, right? I'm going to save it on my desktop and it's already on my desktop. So now when I go back into my Touchpix settings, which is here, the app background, I want to go ahead and load that file and it's on the desktop and I think I called it app background, right? And this is where you want to load whatever you want the screen to display. The logos, you can still use your business logos. In this case, I'm going to pretend that, you know, this Instagram logo is my business logo. The web gallery, I'm also going to pretend this Instagram logo is my business logo and the app background is loaded. The important part here is too, if your app background file is white, you do not want to leave the text and button colors white because you won't be able to see the colors. In this case, my app background color is kind of like a bluish color. So I'm okay with leaving it in white. But if you want to change the text and button color, just click on this box here and change it to whatever color you feel is going to match your design. So I'm going to leave it white, but pay attention to that as well. And as I scroll down, I'm not using any triggers. I'm just going to consent and I'm going to hit submit. Right, and before I scan this QR code, what I'm gonna do is go into Designer now. And for those of you that were used to using the legacy Designer, this is a good opportunity for you to learn how to use this new Designer. So it's very important for you to learn how to use this because this is what we have now. The legacy Designer, the old way, is no longer there. So first and foremost, you want to decide which photo booth template you're going to be using. As you can see, it by default here to your left, it loaded the slow-mo video GIFs templates. I want to start with photo, right? And maybe you want to print strips, right? If you want to print strips, that's fine. Maybe you don't want to print strips. Maybe you just want a single, 4x6 that looks like this with 4 shots, or which is a popular one. This is a pretty popular one here with 4 shots, but I'm going to go with strips because for me, strips are a moneymaker in the sense that you're using less paper because it cuts it in half if you have a printer that cuts in half. Or you can use a custom template and you can place the placeholders wherever it is that you want. We have a whole different tutorial on the YouTube page on how to use this designer, but I'm going to do a quick and dirty run. That way you guys can understand how it works. I'm going to go ahead and select the strips. I'm going to double click on that. And once I double click on these photo strips, what you're going to see is it pop on the main page here. It's saying it's loading, so I'm going to be patient. So this is the photo strips here. And for those of you that don't know how to design, you don't need to know how to design, because fortunately, this app gives you a lot of different options. So once you select your overlay that you want to use, you can go ahead and go to Manage Design. And we have what's called a design library, right? So they're pre-made templates that you can customize. You can go through them however you want. In this case, I'm going to filter. I'm going to just focus on the wedding templates that we have. And I'm just going to select the style here. Let's go with this style here. Just selected the style. It's going to load the template down here where it says wedding. And you'll see that the templates auto-populate. I'm looking for the strips. And you can actually size it up that way. Technically, what it's supposed to do is apply it. Let's delete that. Okay. Let's go back over to templates and see if that works here. Confirm. And it's supposed to auto-populate. Oh, man, this is the one that I want. I'm sorry. I chose the wrong template. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to the bottom and select that template that I was looking for. And these should line up perfectly, as you can see. You can line them up and you can adjust them, you can move them. It gives you a lot of creative opportunity to just fine tune it. What you can do now, if you like this type of design, on the left-hand side, you can add custom text. And for now, it's giving you a yellow type of text. That's not something that I want for my design. To the left, you'll have the ability to change the font. So say maybe I like, let's go with this font here. And I want to be able to edit the font. And I'll just call it Kevin, or let's call it Ann and Kevin. And I'm going to go ahead and hit done. I don't like the size either. You can size it down. I don't like the color, so you can still have the flexibility of changing the color by changing some of the color palettes here on the side. You see what best fits your needs. You can size it up and down. You can add dates. You can add logos. So this is just a name, but say I wanted to add a logo, or I wanted to add some type of clip art. You're able to do that. But before I move on, I can duplicate this. And by duplicating it, you can actually move it and drag it to the other side. Sorry about that. This is a little finicky at times where you're just going to have to work with what you got. But ultimately, it works great. You put the name. And if I wanted to add a clip art, make sure that all of these are lined up. As you can see, when I just moved it, it kind of shifted everything over. So you just want to make sure it shifts everything back, and you have like a frame around it. That way, when you're doing your printouts, there's no gaps in between. You're just going to have to kind of eyeball this a little bit. There we go. Well, let's make it a little bit bigger. As I see. There we go. So if you want to add clip art, what you can do now is go to Manage Design, upload a sticker, right? So say I wanted to add my logo, and I'm going to pretend my logo is the Touchpix PNG here. I'm gonna select it. It's on my desktop. I'm gonna hit open. I'm gonna hit upload. And again, I'm pretending like the Touchpix logo is my business logo. So now before it adds it, you can go into the sticker category down here. And these are the stickers that I've uploaded over time. Let's go with this Touchpix symbol. And I'm pretending this is my business logo, right? So now you can subtly put it like on the top left-hand corner if you want. You can just resize it, make it visible. Let me see here. And if you saw that, it gets a little finicky where you got to be careful that it doesn't shift the design. But you can actually put it anywhere you want where people will be able to recognize your logo. And if you want to duplicate it, you can duplicate it, and now you'll be able to move it to the other side. This is just giving you some quick tips. It's really quick tutorial on how to do this. This applies to all the templates. We have an extensive library for you to add your own stuff. And in this case, if I'm content with this and I want to definitely use this style, I want to make sure before I hit add event, I'm adding it to the correct event. So if I misspelled webinar, but you can see that I'm adding it to the photo booth webinar that I created today. And I'm going to go ahead and hit add event, and it's going to add the event. And after you add it to the event, I want you to be able to save it. The reason why I say save it is because maybe at this point, you're going to want to show it to your client to see if they approve it. And by you saving your presets, you can say, I think I named it Ann and Kevin. All of this will be saved. So if you need to make any subtle changes, instead of recreating everything, you can go over to manage preset. And now if I hit load preset, you're going to see that I have a preset here that's already saved, and it'll load up. These are all the ones that I've done in the past. And I could load them and make any subtle adjustments to them if I needed to. So it's going to bring the design back. And the same thing applies if we go back. So now I created a photo booth event. The photos are going to be strips. Now I want to create a template for my boomerangs, right? So for my boomerangs, I'll make sure I go back and I click on the template icon. From the template icon, you'll get this drop down, and I want to go ahead and make a boomerang template. What I want you to consider is when picking a template, if you're using an iPad that's the camera's in the top in the middle, you're probably better off using a portrait style template or a square, right? Because the proportionates they'll be dead on. You can use a landscape, but just know that the cropping of the actual image is going to look a little different. Any of these will work, but just know that the landscape ones will look a little different during the cropping size. So for my boomerang template, I think a popular boomerang are the squares because people can share them via social media, or actually let's go with these portrait templates because you can share them on your Instagram reels as well and do the same thing. So I can go ahead and pick the same style of template, right? And you're going to be able to do the exact same thing that you did before. Let me see here. Did I use the wrong one? Okay. Some of these you're going to have to adjust. Let's go delete and let's go use the correct template, which was this one here. The portrait style. We're going to go portrait. We're going to go same style. Well, it's not adding it correctly. Give me a sec here. Let's go delete. Delete. Some of these you're going to have to play with, but
yeah, it seems that that one doesn't have the template number 1, DJ. So maybe...
it doesn't have the correct one.
Yeah.
On that style. So okay. So we're going as we go. you know, because you will face probably some of these, and it's good to know how to navigate through. So we're going to use a square one for the boomerang. And again, you can do the same thing and add the text, right? I think I went with, remember what you're using. It's always helpful. And in this case, I'm using the Amarillo type font. I'm going to go ahead and edit. And I think I called it and Kevin. And then what I also did was I changed the color. You can resize it to your liking. You could put it there, put it there. It's going to be a video file anyway, so it's not like it's printing, but you can always add your logos as well as, you know, manage presets, manage design. You're going to upload a sticker. Remember, your logos should be PNG. There should always be some type of sticker. I'm just going to use the Touchpix logo just briefly. That way you guys can see everything loaded onto the, in this case, I'll be using an iPhone for this, but it applies for the iPad. So I'm going to go down to the sticker section and select the sticker, pretending this is my brand. And I'm going to just put it on the top left-hand corner or put it somewhere where it's going to look nice, right? You want it to represent you. So you want to put it somewhere where it's going to complement the art. And again, you can, I'm going to add it to the event, to the correct event. This is for the boomerang, right? And it's going to tell me, what do I want this template in? And just for the sake of this tutorial, I want to use it for both my boomerang and I want to use it for my GIF, because the GIF is actually a digital format as well, right? So once it's loaded, I always recommend that to all users, once you're happy with this, always after loading, save it. Save it as, you know, Ann and Kevin 2. That way you know that you have a couple of presets to choose from. And that way you know that if you have to make subtle changes, you don't have to recreate and do it again, right? So after you're done with loading this, now you're going to go back into Touchpix. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my iPhone. That way you guys can see. And we're going to actually scan the event, but I need to take a picture of that QR code because it won't let me do it. So let's go with events. And this is, I'm going to edit the event first because I want to call it webinar, my misspelled webinar name here. And then I'm just going to go ahead and go back. So you're always able to edit your event, like in the event that you made a mistake, or you don't want to use printing, or you want to just make a slight change. You're always able to go back into your event and edit. And then once you make the edit, go ahead and hit consent and submit. What I'm going to do here with my other phone is take a picture of this QR code because I want you guys to see the setup process, right? And let me delete my Touchpix app completely so I can reinstall and go from there. Touchpix. Oh, okay. Let's delete it. Any quick questions when I'm going to load up the Touchpix app? You guys have any questions on what I just covered today? Anybody?
There's
Perfect.
no question also in the chat, so I don't know if.
I have a question, but it's more on the printing. I don't know if you're ready to talk about that.
Not yet, but we'll get there, and hopefully I can show you guys exactly what the printing's like. I'll try to see if I can get a printer out right now. I don't have it set up, but I can. It shouldn't take me too long to get it up and going. If that's what you guys want to learn, it's not very hard, and there's a couple of ways to print. There's actually 3 different ways to print. I think I can cover them, and if there's time, I can show you exactly what that looks like. So,
hey DJ,
yeah,
DJ, does this set up any different with using a M50 camera?
so there is, and I can show you that as well. Let me set up the event, and then I'll show you how to set up an M50 briefly, and then we'll go from there. But it's the setup itself is exactly the same. The only thing that is going to be changed is the camera and how to connect to that camera. That's all. but the
Okay,
actual
okay.
setup of the event is going to be the same. So let me share this real quick. I'm looking for my Zoom link. There it is. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share my screen. Coming in now, and hopefully you guys will be able to see that. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is go into Touchpix, right? I just reloaded, I deleted the app and reinstalled, and I'm gonna hit activate event, right? And I'm gonna activate it as a normal event. It's asking me for permissions. Always give it permissions. Sorry about my messy kitchen. I'm remodeling right now, but so I'm gonna, I took a picture of the QR code because I wouldn't be able to show you that because I'm screen sharing. And it's loading up the event, and as you can see, that is the quick artwork that I loaded, right? You can customize this. I just did it quick and dirty so you understand how to get the right resolution without it looking stretched out or without it looking a little awkward. The screenshot will give you the exact dimensions, and if you created your logo or your start screen in these dimensions, it'll work perfectly. Another thing that I'm going to give you, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to actually give you guys a free video start screen as an attract screen just for being part of this webinar. I'm going to link it to the chat in a bit, but I want to just show you the steps here on what that's going to look like, right? So now you see that I have 3 experiences. I have a photo experience, a boomerang experience, and an animated GIF. For those that don't know what an animated GIF, it's basically 3 shots. I'm going to go ahead and take 3 pictures, right? There is your, that's 1, and thumbs up, right? So this is your animated GIF. This is what I mean about the props, right? If you enable props, it's going to allow you to put props. It's going to allow you to put props. It timed out because I only gave it 4 seconds. Sometimes the props cause delays because people want to fine tune it, but this is your GIF and you're able to share it via QR code, right? And for those that are at home, you can scan that QR code and you should have access to that specific GIF I just shot, right? This works with internet as well, but this doesn't require the speed or the upload speed that your 360 requires because these are smaller files. These are picture files. This is a small video file. So I think anything above a 5 upload speed, megabytes per second, you'll be sufficient with that. Anything from 5 up, you'll be fine. For 360s, we say 15 on that number. So if you're operating with a lower data or just a bad area, you just need a 5 in that section. And again, the thing that I didn't cover, which I will explain here, is since I just reinstalled the app, make sure that when you reinstall the app and you go into settings, you actually click ultra high quality, right? Because you want it to be the best quality. In this case, I can even take off the compression because it's pictures and I want it to be very, very high quality. So go ultra high quality and take off the compression for pictures, and I think you'll have better results. For Boomerang, for those of you that don't know what a Boomerang is I'm gonna do a quick Boomerang here. I'm just gonna go like that and move my hand, and this is what a Boomerang is. It's just a little video recording. People usually blow kisses or do something that gives it a good effect. And that is typically what they'll receive, right? Now the last experience is gonna be a photo. This is what's gonna print, right? So it's gonna take 3 pictures. Let's do 2. Let's do a picture of my phone for the other one. And maybe a picture of this iPad here. That way you guys can see the context. So you can go continue to the next photo. Where you want to load the props, you can do it that way, but technically it should process the files and it should be inside the strip format. You can see it's processing the files and it should put it in the strip format and it's good to go. So these are the effects down here. I timed them out, but you're able to do filters if you want to give your users. Just know that the props and the effect is going to tie up your, it's going to tie up your line. So again, you can go into the gallery in case the, you know, the guests come back and say, I didn't get my GIF or my boomerang. You can just do it the same way you would do a 360. Do it with the QR code, but just so you guys can see how it works, I'm going to go with filters. And then now I can apply filters if I want, right? I can apply any of these that change the look of the picture, or I can just go back and exit that and not be involved with the filters. I'm going to hit next, and it'll give you the option here to download QR or print. So if you scan that QR code, then you will print. So the only difference that I want to show you here would be the camera option, okay? And you guys have any questions? I know that I covered it pretty quick. It seems pretty easy, but I know there's probably things that people want to learn about. How can I change the transition circle? Yeah, so if you hit, for example, how I hit the filters and edit, if you don't want the filters and edit option, that transition circle disappears. It'll just go with the touch processing, and it'll go straight to the picture. That transition circle only applies when there is, like when you enable the edit option on the photo booth side. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense here. Any other questions while I set that up? I'll see if, okay. So this is what I'm gonna try to show you how I'm operating with one hand here. So hopefully I can get it done, because I want to show you the right way. Like if you are going to use a camera, I want to be able to show you the right way and what I do, how I use it out in the real world. So this will be it here. I'm going to go ahead and show you this real quick, and I'm going to try to explain it to the best of my ability here. Forgive me if it's shaky or anything like that, but so what you want to do, I use one of my favorite cameras for this that I highly recommend. Let me turn on the camera on my phone here. Right, one of the cameras that I recommend is what's called the Canon M50. Right, Canon M50 is a small camera. You're able to power it with a flash if you want. But if you're going to put this inside of a photo booth, this is extremely powerful because your image qualities are your image quality is going to go up tremendously. You're going to be able to compete with any other photo booth software out there. And people often say, well, the batteries don't last, which is true. These batteries don't tend to last very much, but thank God for Amazon. Amazon, if you're using an M50, you can use this brand. This is what's called a dummy battery, right? So you see the model number here. You can look at Amazon, you'll see it. It comes with this battery, and it comes with a cord that has this here that's going to plug into the battery there. And then the other end of the cord is a USB. So now you can power it via USB battery, or if you have one of those plugs, electrical plugs for USB, you can do it that way. So for the purposes of this, I'm going to go ahead and first I'm going to input this battery here in the camera so you guys can see how it works. Again, I apologize because I'm working one hand here. So you see it's in the battery. You see the camera has this little rubber grommet there. You're just going to pull it out or move it to the side. And then you're going to come in with this little adapter here, plug it in. You're going to power on your battery, right? It's powered on. And now what you're going to do is turn on your camera. And you see your camera powered on with the dummy battery. All the camera settings you need to know, kind of, it helps if you know a little bit about photography, but you don't have to be an expert. Let me get a dongle real quick because I don't have that. You do need to get a USB. The other end to this USB is called a micro USB. This is the wrong one. Let me see if I can get one here. I'm in my little gig bag. Okay, so I'm going to use two things here for this tutorial. I'm going to see if I can a sec here. Is all this making sense to people? Because I definitely want people to understand how to use it. I don't want to go over the head of people if you need some assistance with this, because I know it can be confusing, it can be intimidating, but it's really not that hard. So if you have any questions, feel free. This is a good time right now that I'm setting up this other iPad, just to make sure that you understand fully how to set up the photo booth side, because it's actually a very easy experience to set up. It can render high quality outputs, but it's really up to you whether if you want to use an iPad or if you want to use meaning an iPad camera or a DSLR, right? So what I'm doing now is I'm activating another iPad because I'm using the actual phone where I just scanned into that event. So I'm going to go ahead and open that. And then I'm going to go ahead and scan into that QR code of the event we just made. All right, so I'm going to hit activate event, activate. It's going to want to use a camera. And I'm going to scan into that QR code. There we are. You're going to see that it's not going to look good on this iPad. Why? Well, I'm going to let you guys tell me why it's not going to look good on this iPad. You see how stretched out it looks? Why do you think that is? If anybody can answer that question, trying to make this interactive now. Why do you think that this start screen doesn't look good on this iPad? Can anybody answer that?
Resolution.
Yeah, so
Resolution.
it's a different resolution. That's correct. So if you recall at the beginning of the webinar, I took a screenshot off an iPhone because that's what I use as an example. And if you have different size screen, different size resolution, one resolution doesn't work well with another if it's a bigger iPad. So that's why it's important to follow that screenshot example, right? Because you're going to get the best resolution possible. So now we're gonna work off of this iPad. This iPad is kind of an older iPad, but what you're going to need is this is a Lightning port iPad. And the other end to this dongle is a USB with a power go through, meaning that if you plug this into a battery bank, I'm gonna suggest that you power it up with a cord that is a Lightning to USB-C. USB-C will also charge your iPad at the same time. So I'm gonna plug this in, see if it works. Okay, so I plugged in the dongle there. And again, I'm gonna show you guys the proper cable that you need. I think I had pulled out the wrong cable before. You're gonna need this cable here. I'm trying to unravel it. You're gonna need this cable here. Oh, that's too little. Sorry about that. That's it. So this is a USB-C cable here. And this is if you can see it, it's a micro USB, like the old Androids, right? So it needs to be this for this specific camera. If you have another camera, you want to make sure what input the USB is. Some of them are USB-C, some of them might be micro USBs, which is what I had by mistake earlier. If you can tell, these two ends are different. Like this one's much thicker. Like the old T3s, T3Is use something like this. The newer cameras use a micro USB, which is much thinner. But what's going to give it away is here, the side of your camera here. I'm going to pop it open to the side here, and right up there you'll see what the input is. One of them, it's an HDMI. Be careful with this because you don't want to force them in there. So you want to make sure that they match. And because if you mess this up, it's going to be an expensive fix. Okay, so here we go. That fit in there. So now this other end is gonna go here. Give me 1 second here. I'm gonna put this down because it's hard for me to plug this in with one hand. Okay, so this is what I got going on here. So you guys can see. It's powered on through the battery bank, and then this USB cord is powered onto your iPad. The only difference between using the iPad camera and a DSLR is here in the camera settings. You want to go and input DSLR. You want a DSLR. You want to turn on the live view, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the camera and turn it back on. And I'm going to hit connect to DSLR. The camera is going to go on USB mode, and it's saying it's connecting. And then once that screen disappears, it has now connected. So now you can go back. You can hit go back. And I'm going to take some random shots off the DSLR. They're not going to look the best because I don't have a flash attached to it right now. And it's on manual mode. But I'm just giving you a quick tutorial on how that works. So let me see if I can actually get a good looking image of some sort. Well, there's sun. Let's use this. Give me a second. Let's use this mouse. So I'm gonna go ahead and use that mouse. Sorry, the sun's coming in, but so if I hit, let's say I'm gonna hit GIF, right? As you can see, the live view is the camera live view. So the camera is taking 3 shots. That's the first shot. And let's go back. Let's go photo. So that's the first shot on photo. Yeah, I think there's an issue right now with my autofocus. For whatever reason, it's hanging there, but it might be because my autofocus is a little off. Let's go back out. Okay, there it is. So it says 2 photos left. The autofocus, I have it on manual and the autofocus is struggling. But just to show you guys that that's how you make the connection. That's the only thing that you need to adjust. Just make sure that you have the right dongle, the right cable, and you shouldn't have any issues moving forward with the DSLR connection. If you plug this in next to a flash, this is gonna give you high resolution. So you shouldn't struggle with having high resolution images. And the next part should be the printing aspect. But definitely recommend this little camera here. I use it actually for 360. It's a nice little camera that can actually record really good slow motion as well. But again, the key to every photo booth setup is the lighting, and I just kind of wanted to highlight that as well. Do you guys have any questions regarding this process?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I just want to know, using this as an event, is it, I want to know which one is, will give us the best result. Is it like autofocus or manual focus when using a DSLR?
Which one will give you the best results, you said?
Yes, in terms of, yeah, because if you like, as you are struggling with autofocus now, that is going to be draining battery, and at the same time, the image is
So,
kind of.
so the way I do my photo booth setups is this. I didn't show it, but maybe I can show it real quick. It's just that right now where I am currently, let me see if I can show it real quick. I typically, the way I do mine, and maybe Julian can also share the way he does his, because it may differ is typically when I'm setting up a photo booth event. And give me a sec, I'm trying to connect back here. When I'm setting up a photo booth event, and let me share the screen so you guys can see. I initially put it on automatic focus, right? I take a few test shots, right? Make sure I adjust the white balance because that's pretty important in photography as well. It's adjusting the white balance. And once I have it where the automatic is to my liking, I'm trying to share the screen here. Then I make a switch over to manual focus, right? I use autofocus first to take my test shots. And then if I like the focus, I like how everything's looking, I then switch it over to manual. So it really depends on your setup, right? You're gonna have to take a couple of test shots just to make sure. The actual lens itself has manual and autofocus. Let me go back here. Let's see if I can show you. Let me see here. This lens doesn't have one, but I have different lenses. One of my lenses does have manual and autofocus. What I'm saying is there's a little switch on the lens typically. Give me a sec here. I'm going to try to show you real quick. I don't know what camera you guys own, but I have Canons. And did that share the screen or did that go away? Give me one sec here.
Yeah, we can't see your screen.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Okay, let me see if that'll work. Give me one sec here, just.
Can I ask a question real fast while you're doing that?
Sure.
Does the Sony cameras, the Sony A7 IV, is that an option for Touchpix?
No, not currently.
Okay.
Initially, we thought that Sony cameras had some compatibility, and they are, but it's not something that we're going to recommend at the moment because we're finding that the Sony cameras require a connection that's wireless. And we want you guys to have a stable connection. So we took it off our site based on the fact that we're not trying to do any manual connections via the wireless network. All our connections are going to be similar to this here with a wired connector, right? So what I was explaining, this lens doesn't have it. In certain lenses you may encounter, there's a switch that says manual focus and automatic focus. What I mean is when you're going to your events, if you're using a different Canon camera or a different lens that has manual and autofocus, I typically take some test shots on autofocus because I let the lens do the autofocus. And once those pictures or those test shots are coming up to my satisfaction, I'll flip the switch on that. I'll flip the switch from autofocus to manual focus and I'll leave it there. So those will be my preferred methods of setting up a DSLR booth. This specific lens doesn't have one. I have it on manual. It typically has a pretty fast autofocus. But again, it really depends on the camera that you're looking for. And in this specific case, you know, I just took some shots with the iPad with the DSLR. And as you can see, the resolution on these are going to come out a lot better than your typical iPad resolutions. I don't have a flash, but if I had a flash connected, like most photo booths do, you can definitely see the pop and the quality because this is just a better camera than your normal iPad camera. So you'll never, there's a huge comparison, right? The iPad camera is great if you're gonna do just quick and dirty bookings, maybe that are, you can demand some money for those bookings, but if you want high quality shots, what I would recommend is a DSLR. But if you just have an iPad camera and you're starting off in the business, then that's perfect. As long as you have great lighting, you're going to get great results. But if you want more pro level results, then that's when you graduate over to the DSLR. You can see the connection. It's not a very complicated connection. We and on the tech support side can assist with any complication that you may have. It's a pretty simple operation here, just a few cables and the right dongles, and you're up and going. The flash is a different, it's a different hardware, but it's not easy to, I mean, it's not difficult to figure out the right settings. You're going to take some test shots, and a rule of thumb is once you get your equipment, you're going to test at home before you actually test at a real event. It gets complicated when people purchase their stuff, they have a booking on Saturday, their stuff arrived on Friday, and they don't do any testing, and all of a sudden they're panicking at an event because they don't know how to adjust some of the settings. That's when it falls on you, because you need to practice, you need to make sure you understand your equipment, right? So any other questions with the photo booth side? This is what I'm going to give you right now. I'm going to switch over to the computer, and then I'm going to see if maybe Julian can take over answering questions. Do you guys want to see the printing side of things or no? Are you guys interested in that?
Yes, I'm interested in printing.
Okay, so let's do that.
Maybe we can go shallow on this, DJ, because I guess that this one is a very interesting topic that we can cover in a full webinar. I don't know if you think the same. But
the printing, you mean, or this?
yeah, the printing.
Yeah. Okay. So why don't we do this? Because it is going to require it does require a little bit of a connection. Why don't we do this? We can discuss the printing questions, and then what I'll do is I'll make a video. Julian and I will make a video on how to establish that printing connection. There's really 3 ways to print. Let me switch off the screen and go back over to this. There's 3 ways to print. One way is if you go to the Touchpix website and you go over under support and you go under downloads. If you have a DNP printer, by the way, you can download a lot of the designer overlays if you're familiar with Canva and want to add them yourself here on the download section. If you have a Windows computer and you have a popular printer such as the DNP printers, the DS40, the 620, if you have I think the Fuji printer is now compatible. The high-T printers are now compatible. If you have any of those following printers, you can download the Windows Print Server. It's a program that runs on your Windows computer. The downside to that is going to require you to take that laptop to your events. This is free, so this Touchpix will give you a print server that'll make your iPad and your printer work wirelessly. But the downside is that you are going to have to take a Windows laptop to print. If you visit my YouTube channel, I do have some printing examples using this Windows print server. Another example how Touchpix prints is using AirPrint. Depending on what printer you have, such as like the DNP. DNP makes its own module called the WCM. Let's Google that real quick. And it's not that I'm trying to promote them, but I'm giving you guys options, and you guys choose what the best fit is for you. So if you go to if you have a DNP and you want to print wirelessly, they have this device here called the DNP WCM2. It's about 160 bucks, and it prints wirelessly via AirPrint. This works great for the DNP printers. For all the other printers, it will not work. It's only for DNP. The reason why I'm not a fan of AirPrint is the following. I'm going to try to see if I can show you again. I'm going to screen share real quick. Are you guys able to see this DNP module? Yes. Okay. So the reason why I'm not a fan of AirPrint is the following. Give me a second here. I'm going to show you a screen share. If somebody hires you to do a photo booth event, right, you want to look as professional as possible. The reason I don't like these AirPrint modules is for the following reason. Let me pull up the camera again. So the reason I don't like these AirPrint modules is because, where did it go? Here we go. So if I were to hit settings, first of all, you're able to connect here in the printer section. It's section 2. You tell it what type of printer you have. And in this case, if I were to select, let me see, type of connection, AirPrint to work with those modules, right? It's gonna look for my AirPrint printers right now. I probably have a wireless home printer that may work or may not, I don't know. Oh, it doesn't right now, but let's go over to the gallery. Say I wanna print this picture here. The reason I don't like AirPrint is because for every guest that you hit print on, well, you see this page that pops up? This is an AirPrint page. It has nothing to do with Touchpix. All the other apps use the same way of printing. I don't like it because it shows the customer that you're using, if you go AirPrint, right? It shows the customer that you're using an iPad, right? This is an iPad page, and for me, it just kills the experience, right? If somebody's saying, well, you're using an iPad, let them figure that out. I don't want the iPad to announce itself. So that's my biggest reason why I'm not a fan of the DMP line. What I do recommend is the following. I know it's a little bit more money, but it's literally the best option, I think, in the industry. But it only works with Touchpix. So if you go over to the Touchpix website, go to support or shop, I'm sorry. We do have this little box here, and it's called PrintPix. It is $2.99, but this is compatible with 95% of all printers out there that are photo booth printers. There's only a select few that is not compatible with. Before you buy it, let us know what printer you own just to make sure, but it is compatible with the majority of the printers out there. This here connects wirelessly to your iPad. The Touchpix app will connect. It'll detect your printer. And once you hit print, you will not see that AirPrint menu pop up. It gives it the experience of like, this is a computer, we're processing your photos quickly, and they print wirelessly without a hitch. So this is what I would recommend for people that are on the fence or want to buy a quick printing solution. You can go the free route and use a Windows laptop. That's absolutely free. You can go the AirPrint route if you own a DMP printer with WCM, or you can go with our print box that we developed that works on 95% of all printers out there, right? And this box is actually going to do a lot more. You're going to want to purchase this box in the sense that it's going to be a double use box. One of the biggest highlights that we're testing now, it's going to become a share box for 360 owners, meaning that instead of using a router, you will now be able to use this box and share your videos by similar to Scanpix. You'll be able to access a network, you'll be able to log into a network and share your videos. But if you're using it on the photo booth side, you'll be able to print pictures with it as well. So you won't be able to use them both at the same time. It's either one or the other. If you're going to use it with your 360, great, to share your videos locally within that network. Or if you're going to take out your photo booth and use it to print with your photo booth printer, you'll be able to use it that way as well.
So is the 360 side of the PrintPix available now, or it's coming?
It's available now. It's in the final rounds of testing. I think now if you place an order, everything's being shipped out with the latest version.
Hey, DJ.
And that's
Sure. You had a follow up on that?
yeah. So that's with the new ones coming out with the PrintPix. That's what the sharing station.
Correct. You will see
like a Scanpix version.
You will see a Touchpix sticker to it now. It will no longer say PrintPix. It'll say Touchpix. and you'll have the discretion of using it for like a local 360. So there'll be more follow-ups on that. It does work wirelessly, but I think the best way moving forward, we've used this with a wired connection, meaning that this is tied to your 360 arm with the battery bank powering it up. And these have USB ports. So whether you want to share, we're going to do a separate webinar on that so I could explain it. And maybe it'll be up soon, but it'll have like a USB dongle with a Cat5 connection that attaches to, if you have an iPhone, it'll be like a lightning port. If people want to receive their files instantly with they have an Android with a USB-C, people can just plug into this. It'll automatically connect to the network, scan the QR code, and you'll have your file right away. We used this at the expo last year. There'll be more follow-ups on that. So if you have questions, reach out to me or even Julian, because he's going to start testing on it as well. But this is going to be our new share box, and it's coupled with PrintPix as well.
I have a quick question.
Thanks.
So
Sure.
I just got a new box. This is my third PrintPix box because the first two were not doing too well.
Okay.
So with my new box, I haven't used it yet. Will the new box I received, does it have that on there already?
Let's touch base offline. If it doesn't, we can make it happen.
Okay.
Right? We can make it happen. So it's not a huge it's just kind of an upgrade that we may have to do remotely, but it's definitely doable.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Was this photo booth webinar? I mean, did this explain a lot of questions? Did it go through some of the doubts you might have had in setting up a photo booth?
Yes, for sure. Because like I say, the focus was so much on the 360. I wanted to get into the photo booth side of it, but the webinars that ceased for a little while. So yeah, this is great.
Yeah, that's awesome too. And you know, take advantage of these types of photo booth functions. And I only touched on photo booths, but imagine what you can do with an actual roamer, right? For those of you that own roamers or to do, I usually couple my some of my 360s or some of my photo booths with roamers. Like if I'm doing a wedding, I'll try to throw in a mobile ring light roamer for like the cocktail hour. And I'll make some money on the front end and I'll make the money on the back end with the photo booth. So just to give you guys ideas on how to kind of get that extra money or charge some of the upcharges that you guys could have by owning and already using the subscription. So I'm gonna go ahead.
A question about that. The roamer, DJ, how do you feel, especially at weddings? You know, they usually have a professional photographer. Do you feel any animosity between while you using the roamer with the guys that's the professional photographers? Because I hate stepping on anyone's toes. I mean, I don't know how much they think. I'm sorry.
This is Maria from Miami. Hi, DJ. Let me
Hi.
tell you, I use the roamer at the weddings, and people run after me to take pictures. It's just an engagement. There's no competition with the professional photographer. So there's no, and I do it a lot. So go and do it. It's like a plus. I kind of take it when I have the 360.
Yeah, I do
love it. Yeah,
I do it, but I just don't want to. Like I say, I see some sharp eyes from the.
No, you won't. You won't. I'm telling you. I do it all the time.
Okay.
That's my thought.
Thank you.
I agree with Maria. I agree with her too. Same thing here. Now there might be a little bit of what you said about the animosity because we're able to customize and send a photo right now versus with most wedding photographers 6 weeks later.
Right.
So I do see them eyeballing me a little bit, but it's like, listen, you got the quality. I just have the quickness, so the customer's going to get whatever they want.
And ours are candid. You know what I mean? And as opposed to theirs, you know, everybody's got to stand straight, you know, serious, and we just
Yeah.
come in for the fun of it. So
Yeah.
kind of,
Okay.
you know, do it.
Thank you.
I
You're
love
welcome.
I love the engagement, and I love you learning from other boothers because they've been out there doing this for a while as well, right? So yeah, I agree with both of them. There's going to be minor animosity, but you're more of you're more of the attraction in a sense that they're getting the high quality photos from the photographers. You're more the fun person, getting the silly moments,
Yeah.
capturing
Exactly.
those elements. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna give you guys, for being part of this webinar, I have some start screens that I want to share, and I'm gonna show you how to load them. And maybe later we can do a different webinar that deals more with roamers and with the digital background removal, because Touchpix also has the ability to upload a digital background, and it uses the artificial intelligence to remove the background. And as long as you have good lighting, you can present like there's actually a backdrop behind every person, right? If the picture's not too busy, if you're just capturing two faces and there's really not a busy background to it, and you have great lighting, Touchpix will remove the background and apply whatever image you put in its place. So you know, we're just scratching the surface with these webinars, and I just wanted to say that, you know, there's a lot more to learn from Touchpix than what meets the eye.
DJ, I
Yeah.
have a question. It's Maria again.
Hey,
Because I've
Maria.
been playing with a photo booth to do the photo booth. I have a question. What, when you remove the back, you know, the back picture, where do you add a picture that you might want?
When you run that by me one more time.
Okay, it's I know it's removable. You can remove the back and make it black and just white. Where would I, let's say if I want a picture of the sky and the moon, where do I upload it? Where in the app do I upload my new backdrop when I do the removal? Am I making any sense? Can somebody help me?
Let's go into that right now. Let's
You know,
I'm uploading these backdrops. Give me one quick second.
Okay.
And let me go back into my camera. That way I can show you. Oh man, it logged me out. Give me one second. It logged me out of my my camera mode. Yeah, so you do that from the actual app itself, right? It's in the app settings, and let's go in there.
Ding dong, I think I figured where you put it, but do it. I just thought of it.
You saw it already in the app settings? Well, let's show it to the other people.
I didn't see it, but I'm thinking right when you're in the app and you the removal, just like when you change the songs and you upload it. I'm thinking that's
yeah,
where
it's very similar.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. Very
Ding, ding.
similar. Let
Ding
me
ding.
come on, it's not accepting my my iPhone to join. Let me see here. Let me see. Do you have the ability to show that, Julian, by any chance? My iPhone's not cooperating.
Let me connect my iPhone into this meeting. Hold on, please.
Yeah, sorry, my iPhone just disconnected, and I'll try it as well with you, but it's very easy. And then I'll input the link for you guys to be able to get those backdrops, or those start screens. I'm sorry. Okay, give me one quick sec.
DJ, can I ask a question?
Okay, let me see. Any luck, Julian? It's not connecting on my end. Maybe I'll switch Wi-Fi's. Okay, here we go. Was that you, Julian, that just logged in with iPhone 360?
Yeah, that's me.
I'm gonna make you co-host. Sorry about that. My iPhone logged off and I wasn't able to log back on.
Let me know if you can see it now.
Yeah, we could see your screen.
Okay. My phone is in Spanish, but sorry about that. Okay, you need to go to the menu, then go to the settings
It's gonna
and
be on
look for the option number
photo
5.
effect. Yeah, it's gonna be under photo
It's
effects.
photo effects, okay? In this photo effects, you need to tap in delete background HQ. This option. And then you will have the ability to select the file that you want to apply here.
Yeah, so under subsection 5, it'll be photo effects, and there is a remove background high quality. That's what HQ stands for. You're gonna have to upload that to your phone, and he uploaded a background, and he might even show you what that looks like.
Okay, let me. Well, in this case, I have a 360, so not sure that this is going to work because I don't have the session available. But is the way that you have to, change your background.
Yeah, so as long as you add it to this specific spot here, remove background. And again, you're gonna want to get a background. The recommendation is once you get a background, get a digital background, and hopefully you can crop it the same size as the template that you're using. That way it doesn't look stretched out and it doesn't look like it doesn't belong. You're gonna want to make sure you crop it into the same size template that you're using and make sure it looks good. It's not like giving you this abstract look.
Hey, since we're talking about backgrounds, I noticed that you can also add the animated background on the slow-mo version.
For slow motion you're talking about?
Yep.
Yeah, you can add animated background. Right now, it's not really recommended in the sense that it's available, but you're gonna have to have pretty great lighting for that to work. I don't recommend using backgrounds that has like a solid background. Like if you're gonna like say put a picture of a let's see what I can use as an example, like a building, right? Some of the backgrounds you're gonna have to make sure that they have like gaps in between. So if you're putting a picture of maybe some lights that are going to be animated that have distance in between, that it's not just a solid background, you may get better results. But you can test it to see how that looks for you. It's just a high resource. It's going to take high resources from the phone for it to come out correct, and the lighting is going to have to be really well as well.
Okay. And is there a green screen option
There is
for the
a green,
video?
there is a green
360?
screen option, and that applies similarly to that as well. The lighting is going to have to be great for you to have the best results for that.
Okay.
But there is, you can definitely, and if you go to the official YouTube page for Touchpix, you're going to see Martin, the CEO of Touchpix, do a green screen example, and it looks like he's falling out of the sky, and he did that out of his spinner. So there's a great example there on the Touchpix YouTube page.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let me see here. I'm gonna give you guys some files real quick and see if you guys are able to load them. And then and that's pretty much it, unless there's any other questions here. So let me go here. Home. Start and receive. Oh, here it is. Okay. Okay, here we go. Sorry, I'm going to link some files on the chat. If you're able to download these, I would recommend it. These are free. This is kind of, oops, I don't want to download them. I want to share them. Okay. These are free in the sense of making this webinar. So let's see, copy link. Got it. So where these get applied is I would use these start screens in the animated, the attract screen section, right? So let me go back to the Zoom link. Okay, let's go into the Zoom link. I need to open up the chat because I think I have it closed off here. Let me see here, chat window. And thank you guys for jumping into today's chat. We're going to be shooting off more and more informative chats with Touchpix. These are 3 start screens that I'm going to share, and these are MP4 files. So you can go ahead and download these and use these. You're going to load them on the Touchpix settings under the attract screen section. I don't know if you have to resize them. You may have to resize them a little bit, but you know, if you're having any issues with them, let me know and I'll fix them for you. So essentially, this is what it is. I'm gonna just show them here. That way you guys can see them. And you know, this is just kind of for making our webinar, for taking your time. And so there's three attract screens that you load up under the attract screen and of your iPad, and these will be fine because they're MP4s. And these are just when the iPad's not being used, the attract screen kicks on like a screensaver, and it'll show this. This is a wooden one. It just says touch to start, grab your props, and it loops into a loop. So it's a pretty cool little attract screen. It's, you know, and then the other one is just a plain white one with a little bit of animations, and it just says touch to start. So when a person touches the actual iPad, you know, you'll see the actual Touchpix experiences to choose from, and they can go from there. This is just a quick little start screen. You could walk around if you have it on the roamer, or even if you have it on your iPad booth. It just looks very professional, and it's engaging for your clients. And this is one that has glitter. And yeah, use them as you want. Is kind of our gift to you for making this webinar. And I'm not sure if you guys have any further questions, but I think you know, I'm going to follow Julian's advice, because I do think printing is going to take a separate webinar, but we'll try to do a quick video on how that looks with the options that are available. Is there any other questions you guys may have before we conclude this meeting? Anything that I missed, Julian, that you want to cover?
No, DJ, everything was covered by you. Maybe, you know, what was missing? The actual attract screen, where to load these kind of files that you just shared.
Okay, let me see if I can get that in. And then
Yeah,
I'll
because maybe that part was missed at the beginning when you set up the event.
Okay, let's go back then. Let's do that. So these files, I'm going to go back into my Touchpix account. Let me see.
I'll get both of them. Which one is that? No. You get the other one too?
Let me see here. Maybe I was already in my Touchpix account. Where am I? Is that my Touchpix account? Let's figure this out. There we go. So this is it here. So if you go into your events and you go over to manage, you go over to edit. And if you scroll down here, there's a section here.
DJ, actually, we are seeing a freezing screen on the login.
Okay, let me see if you guys are you guys good here?
Yeah, yeah, right now it's okay.
Okay, perfect. So let's see, under the settings here, where are they? You see where it says the track screen? This is where you will load that MP4 file. Right? And it may need to get resized, I think. Yeah, so let me do this. These are a little big. Save that link, you guys. What I'm gonna do is I need to resize these. They might be like 2 megabytes over. And what I'm gonna do is resize them, or you guys can do it yourself with the online video converter. Use this online video converter, dump them in there, and it'll resize them for you. But I can do it for you if you save that link. Just copy and paste that link into a notepad. And once I resize them, I'll do it tonight. That way tomorrow morning they'll be ready and you can download the exact same ones that will fit if you don't want to do this. So it's just save that link and I'll save it for you. But this is where you'll load it. You're gonna load it under the track screen section. 15 megabytes is the limit. I think those are a little bit like 2 megabytes bigger than what they calls for. And once I make them the right size, you should be able to use them no problem.
The one that's the red, white, and blue one.
So just save them there and then it'll load up and then you guys will be good to go. Save that link. Tomorrow morning, they'll be ready. So you can just cut and paste that link into your web browser tomorrow and you can download them then and it'll be the correct size. All right, so I'm not gonna move them. It'll be the same link. If anything, if you're having any issues, check your chat and then I'm actually gonna put my Touchpix email in the event that you're having any issues and we can rectify that. But this is kind of a gift for making the webinars. I know it takes a lot of time and effort out of your day and you're learning how to kind of master your craft and get ideas on how to demand that extra money. So definitely we appreciate you being Touchpix customers and we appreciate you wanting to learn more about Touchpix and how to just expand your business. That's all. And with that being said, I think we're going to be done with today's webinar. I appreciate everybody. Thanks, Julian. Thanks, everybody. We'll do something really, really soon with the printers, solely on printing. And I'm thinking we'll have at least our Touchpix free web server, show you how to print from there. And then we'll have the PrintPix box and show you how to print from there as an example. Okay. Appreciate everybody. Have a great night.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.